Susan Francis, the Savvy Girls Success Coach, and welcome to my video tip number 2 in the Savvy Girls Success video and training course series. And today's video is about the number 1 relationship hindrance that may be holding you back from having the business and lifestyle that you love. And that that number 1 hindrance is feeling guilty about working in a way that you love and feeling as though you have to justify the way you work to your partner. And this is something that comes up quite a lot with women in business, because as women in business, we work in a very different way to men. There is a real difference between the feminine way of working. It's a lot more about stepping into our creativity and being open to creativity. It's a lot more about connecting with other people, and that can be very different from the typical 9-to-5 job. And when you're in a partnership, in a relationship with somebody that is going to work on a 9-to-5 job, and you are able to work in a way that enables you to live your life in a different way and spend your day in a different way, it can be very difficult. It can be very difficult to be able to relate to the other person that the way that you're working is one that's going to be a successful way for running a business. And very often what happens is that you feel that you've got to justify the way that you work, because when you're in business, the money that you earn doesn't tot up on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis like a salary does. So therefore, you can at times spend a whole day, whole weeks, and sometimes even months where a lot of the work that you're doing isn't necessarily bringing in money in that moment, but is creating products and programs and creating outlets, if you like, and connections that will bring money in the future. But there isn't a way of sitting down and totting up at the end of the day, oh, I've done this amount of work and it's actually earned me this amount of money. And what happens is that that often we feel that we have to justify the way that we're spending our day, because we feel guilty that at the end of the day our partner has come home from work and their work that they've done has brought in X amount of money, but the work that we're doing hasn't necessarily that particular day put money on the table. And yet we've been able to spend our day in a way that we really enjoy. And I come across this quite a lot. In fact, recently I was working with somebody who said that one of the most difficult things that she found about her business and conflicts that were arising with her relationship was the fact that one of the things that she does is she's always putting together she's a coach, and she's always putting together new programs and new workshops and seminars, etc. And to do that, she finds that the best way that she can be really creative and tap into all of the knowledge that she's got inside of her to create the outlines for those days, to create the materials for those days. She actually finds it that works better for her if she takes a walk along the beach, maybe sits in a cafe, and often spends time sort of sitting on the beach with her notebooks and working in that way. And then once she's spent some time doing that, she can then go back to her desk and put it all into place and sort of type it up and prepare it all. But what she was finding is that there was conflict arising between her and her husband, because as far as he was concerned, what are you doing spending your day on the beach? That's not going to bring in any money. And so she was finding that she was feeling guilty for doing that, and actually finding that she was sneaking off to do that and not being completely honest with what she was doing or how she was spending her day, in order to be able to try and tap into her creativity, but also to try and create the impression that she was working away hard at home to bring in the money. And it's not that the work that she wasn't doing didn't mean that she wasn't working hard, it's just that it was a different way of working. And often we can feel really guilty about working in those ways, and we can find that resentments can build up within the relationship. And one of the ways to overcome this is to open the lines, because what it does is it shuts down the communication. It makes people hide makes people hide what they're doing, and not be completely honest with the other person about the way that they're working or about what they're doing in their business. And so my tip for you for overcoming that is to actually open up those lines of communication, because very often it's about a fear on the part of the other person where they don't really know what's going on. They can, as soon as you start hiding out and not telling somebody something, they sense that, they know that that's not right. And also, especially if a lot of the way that you run your business is about going out and networking with people, it can start to make the other person feel quite fearful that that there's a divide between the way that you are as a couple, because the journey of being a business owner there's a big difference in the way that you work and the way that you are, and it's a whole journey of self-discovery. And what happens is you learn and grow all the time, and actually your partner can start to feel a bit left out, to feel unsure of the future. So it's about opening up those lines of communication. So my tip for you today is it's about sharing, not convincing the other person, because often we step out and we think that what we've got to do is convince the other person. Ways to do that I would suggest are actually creating situations between the two of you where you're more relaxed, where you're able to have conversations, where you're able to share what's going on in your business, share what your dreams are for your business, and share how you're intending to do that in a situation where you're both relaxed. So for example, whenever I'm stepping up or changing the way I'm doing things in my business, or I'm bringing something new into the way that I'm working, I always share what's going on and the growth that's going on in my business with my husband. But I always find that the best way to do that is for us to take some time out and have a day out somewhere. And what I try and do is I try and involve that in what I'm doing with my business, so that he can see what I'm doing and what my intentions are. So as an example, recently we had a day out where we went and viewed some different locations that I'd like to be delivering some VIP days at. So we went out and visited some lovely different country manor hotels for a day, had lunch in one, had a drink in another. And I was able to explain to him what I wanted to do, get some feedback from him and include him in what I was doing. But also we were able to talk through the changes that were going on in my business and the changes that was having in our lives, so that we could talk that through and find and make sure that we were both on the same page with that, and that we were both comfortable with what was going on. So my first part of that tip is that you find somewhere where you're both relaxed, in a way that you're both relaxed. If that's a meal, if that's going out for a meal, or if that's just not the moment that they walk through the door, or not at the time when you're feeling anxious or agitated by something, find a time when you're relaxed. And the next part of that is to first of all ask them how they're feeling about what's going on in your business, about how they're feeling about how your lives are changing, and being open to receiving information from them as to what's going on from them. Because it's not just about getting them to understand what's happening with you, but about sharing with them what's going on for them as well, and so that you can both work out together ways of making each other feel included, and ways of working through things together. And with that, you can discuss different ways to include them. So for example, I've also got somebody that I've been working with recently who themselves are hosting VIP days, and because travel and spending time together is something that's really important for her and her husband, what she's now doing is she's found a way that she has a whole weekend where she'll, on one of the days of that weekend, she'll host a VIP day, but for the rest of the weekend, her and her husband will spend time at this different hotel, at this different location, relaxing, maybe using the spa, taking walks and going out and visiting places in the local area. So what she's actually doing is combining spending really quality time with her partner with actually working on her business. So that's a really good way that you can combine the two. But it's about having that communication there rather than shutting it down and feeling resentful of each other. So that's my tip for today. The next part in this training call series is the actual training call, which is taking part next week on Tuesday the 24th of September at 8 PM UK time. On that call, we're going to look at how to get out of your own way and uncover what's really holding you back from stepping up and playing big in your business. And believe me, it might not be what you think it is. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to understand the number one essential step to avoid you giving away your power, and so that you can step up and play big and really step up into that business that you desire, and become the successful businesswoman that you're meant to be. And then we're also going to cover in that the 3 essential business boundaries that will enable you to step up and play big in your business. And also I'm going to be opening up the doors on my new brand new Savvy Girl Success program, and telling you all about that on that call. So don't forget to tune in next Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you on the call. I'll speak to you soon.